Okay, let's get started. Hello. Today I will be talking about the waggle dance performed by bees. So the waggle dance is a dance performed by bees to inform other bees in a hive of the existence of food. It is performed on a vertical wall and is watched by other bees in the hive. In the first experiment that we see to be able to the purpose of the waggle dance, we see a bee, which we will denote as BA, was trained to go to a specific feeder that we will denote as feeder F. BA would then return to its hive and dance in front of the other bees. Then, the original feeder F was removed and other feeders were set up around the area where feeder F originally was. And then the number of bees arriving to each of the new feeders was recorded. And here we see the experimental setup. We see the hive here, and then the possible routes the bees could have taken to each of these feeders. And here was F, however, F was gone. And we see in the results, we see that the majority of the bees went to the hive that was closest to where F originally was. And then there are some other bees that went to some of the surrounding hives, but none of the bees went to the hives on the polar ends of the experiment. So from this, we can conclude that somehow the bee that danced communicated where the food was. A second experiment was done where the researchers trained BB to fly to a feeder, which we will denote as G, 750 meters away. BB returned to the hive and danced in front of the other bees, similar to how BA did. Then, similar to feeder F, feeder G was removed and other feeders were placed at variable distances away from the beehive. Then, similar to experiment 1, the number of bees going to each of the feeders was recorded. And here we see the variable distances away from the hive, which is denoted here with the circle. We see a feeder at 100 meters, 400 meters, 700 meters, 800 meters, 1,000 meters, 1,500 meters, and 2,500 meters. We see here feeder G was between 700 and 800 meters at 750 meters, but that was not present. Bees were being reported. And as a result, we see that instead of only staying at the 750 meters where feeder G was, most of the bees went a little further to the feeder at the 800-meter mark, around 30 bees, where 17 bees went to the feeder at the 700-meter mark. We also see that some of the bees overshot a little bit, but the majority of the bees stayed around where feeder G originally was. So from this, we can conclude that somehow the bee conveyed the distance away the food was. So the waggle dance itself, it's a figure-8 pattern used to communicate with other bees. This middle straight part of the waggle dance is known as the waggle run. So we see the bee goes up and left and then down and then up and right and down and then up and keeps going. We now know that the angle of the waggle dance indicates the direction of the other bees to fly in relation to the sun. For example, we have a waggle dance performed at a 45-degree angle, and this tells the bees to go out of their hive and find the sun and then fly 45 degrees to the left of the sun, because the waggle dance was performed at a 45-degree angle to the left. We also see that the length of the waggle run indicates how far or near food is. So here we see a longer waggle run, which means that the food source is farther away from the hive, And here we see a shorter waggle run, which means that the food is closer to the hive. So, in conclusion, we are able to know that bees can communicate the location of food through their waggle dance. They are able to communicate the angle in relation to the sun, and the food is through the angle of their waggle run. They are able to communicate the distance away their food is through the length of their waggle run. Thank you.